Hello, guys. My name is Nicholas Earle, and welcome back to another edition of Talking Baseball with the Earle Brothers. And today we're going to be looking at we're going to do a tier list. And I want to do more of these type of videos going forward, where we can rank things, and we can definitely have discussions down in the comment section, where you guys believe certain teams should be and things along those lines. And for this video, we're going to at the trade deadline. And we're going to put those in tiers of aggressive buyers, teams that are going to go all in because this is the year they're competing and they're going to go for a World Series and things like that. Teams that are going to buy, but it's maybe just like a rental arm or a rental bat or something along those lines, one or two of those type of players. Not going to go necessarily all in, but they are going to add at the deadline. We have teams who probably will stay pat, teams that, I don't know, probably aren't competing for a World Series this year, but aren't looking to sell the farm either. Soft sell owns that are going to trade away pending free agents and things along those lines, but they're not going to sell their whole team because they're going to compete next year. And sellers. These are the teams that are out of it already that should look anybody and everybody with value to kind of recoup and rebuild, retool, things along those lines. So let's get it started here. The Yankees, they are aggressive buyers. I don't think there's any other tier you can put them in. They'll probably look for maybe third base, starting pitching, bullpen, things along those lines to definitely help them out. They need another left-handed pitcher in that pen other than Tim Hill. They need somebody to replace where Osvaldo Cabrera was because their third base situation isn't great, especially if they're going to have Jazz Chisholm playing second base. Imagine if they had a second baseman right now, maybe like a Gleyber Torres or something like that, but that's beyond the point. But yes, the Yankees will be aggressive buyers. Mariners are a tricky team because I don't know if they're not going to be aggressive, but I see them as a team that they'll grab a rental or two, maybe look for a rental bat, something along those lines. They definitely need more hitting. I think they're fine on the pitching end, maybe a bullpen arm, but that bullpen's still been pretty good, things along those lines. I don't see Seattle going super aggressive, but I don't see them really selling either. You can also maybe consider them for the stand pat category. But I think they'll add, but I don't think they'll add too much because I think the American League is pretty wide open. The Rays are weird because they are a team that we know doesn't go crazy buying even when they are good. Maybe they might a little bit more this year considering they're tied with the Yankees for second in the American League East. So these are two teams. Yeah, the Yankees and the Rays are both 48 and 40, currently 2 games behind the Toronto Blue Jays, which they will be a fun one to talk about there. And for the Rays, I see this as I put them in stand pat, but they're definitely a team that can buy and sell. They're a weird team that likes to work within the margins, and we've seen them do this year after year after year after year. I think the Rays are one of those teams that's going to add a little bit. They're going to sell a little bit. They're going to probably get rid of players who are going into bigger arbitration years and look for players with more control. That's kind of the way they are. The Blue Jays, I could see them being buyers. I'm gonna say they're buyers this year because we know Ross Atkins is going to try to save his job at GM there, and this management now that the Blue Jays are now 50 and 38, which is first place in the American League East. And they're the third best team in the American League right now behind Houston and Detroit. I think they're buyers. I think the Blue Jays here will go and look for some bullpen help. Maybe they look for a starting pitcher for a little bit of a depth piece. And maybe they look for a bat or two. But I think this Blue Jays team is going to be pretty good. And I think they are going to buy at this deadline. So I'm going to put them in buyers. Not as aggressive buyers as the Yankees will be. But I think they will be buyers. Marlins, or sellers. As fun as their run has been a little bit lately, they are playing pretty well. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games. I believe they had an 8-game winning streak as well. This is still a team that's in a rebuild. They're 39 and 47. They're not making the playoffs. They're not adding anything. And this is not a year that they're going to soft sell either. Sandy, I think, is gone. Maybe Everett Cabrera is gone. Jesus Sanchez will be gone. Like this is still a rebuilding Marlins team that maybe has some pieces that they're going to hold on to. But this is a team that is going to sell at the deadline. They are definitely a team that's going to sell. The Cardinals, I'm going to put them in the rental or two category here. They're definitely an interesting team. They're 6.5 games behind the Cubs right now. but they are currently, for the wild card, only a game behind the Padres for that last wild card spot. I could see them adding a piece or two in order to complement their team a little bit. I can also see them selling off maybe some pending free agents, like an Eric Fetty or something along those lines. Nothing big, but I think that they can get rid of maybe they trim some fat, but they add a player or two, a rental, something along those lines. They're competing. I think the Cardinals are very much like the Mariners, who are just a couple games over 500. They're flirting with a wild card, things along those lines. They might add a bat or two, but they're not going to be overly aggressive. The Astros, I would like to say they're going to be aggressive here, but I don't think I'm going to put them in a rental or two. I'm going to put them on the top of that category because I don't see them as a team that has that many holes they need to fill, really. And unfortunately for the Astros, they don't have the farm system in order to go out and make a big move, a big splashy move or something along those lines, because they just don't have the farm system to do so. And if they're going to make a big splashy move, it's going to be trading some major league talent away for major league talent. So I'm going to put the Astros in a rental or two. Maybe they go out and get an outfielder, maybe preferably a left-handed outfielder, a very right-handed heavy lineup there in Houston. So maybe they look for a specific need, like a left-handed outfielder or something along those lines. But for me, I'm just going to put them in a rental or two. Braves are a soft sell. This is the first of the soft sells. They are still going to compete the next few years. It's just a lost year for the Braves. Currently fourth in the National League East. They're half a game behind the Marlins, who I have in sellers. But the Braves have a little bit of a core. They're not going to trade Riley. They're not going to trade Albies. They're not going to trade Olsen. They're not going to trade their big guns. They're not going to trade Strider, Schwellenbach, anything along those lines. But maybe an Ozuna goes. Maybe someone along those lines. Maybe some of their relievers go. I don't see them going hardcore sell mode. But if there's some pending free agents, UFAs, things along those lines, I wouldn't be shocked to see the Braves sell them off and look to recoup, reset, and go ahead and then maybe make some moves in the offseason for 2026. The Orioles, I think, go in the exact same category. They're not going to sell Gunnar Anderson. They're not going to sell Adley Rutschman. They're not going to sell any of their core guys. But maybe a Felix Bautista's on the move. Maybe a Cedric Mullins. Cedric Mullins is absolutely on a move. Maybe a Zach Eflin's on the move. Things along those lines. But they're not going to sell their future. Or they're not going to sell away their bigger players that'll net them higher returns. They're going to sell away rentals and pending free agents and things along those lines. I'm going to put the Guardians in the same category here. I could see them kind of in that stand pat category as well. I'm actually going to put them in stand pat. See, this is a weird team because I could easily be like, oh yeah, they're going to sell away Emmanuel Clase and things along those lines. Or they could just be like, yeah, we're fine where we are. Because currently but even though they are kind of struggling, 40 and 46, they're not the Guardians team I thought they were going to be heading into this year. And they are struggling as of late, 1-9 in the last 10 games on an 8-game losing streak. I'm actually going to put them in soft sell. I think that they're going to look to trade away some pending free agents, rentals, and maybe you look towards some bullpen pieces as well. Because we know the Guardians can spawn decent bullpen pieces as well. So I will have them in the soft sell. I don't think they're going to go big time sell, but they're going to look to sell here. Rockies, they're going to sell whatever they can. I don't think there's really much of a discussion there. They are a solid 20-68 on the year, 35.5 games behind the Dodgers. Tigers are going to be big time aggressive buyers now. And here's the thing: I'm going to put them above the Yankees here, mainly because it'll let me. There we go. I'm going to put them above the Yankees because I think they have more of a farm system to do so. They got some more top-end talent. They've got some good, just intriguing prospects that teams will be interested in acquiring if they have rentals or players with a year or two of control. I like that for the Detroit Tigers, that they have a better farm system in order to be more aggressive of buyers than the New York Yankees. So I will have them I believe they will be the top team for aggressive buyers when it comes to the trade deadline. Kansas City, I think, will be in soft sell mode because they are currently 42 and 47. I don't think they're doing anything this year. Granted, they are, even though they're 5 games out, they're 5 games under. They're 4.5 games behind the Mariners for that last wild card spot, but they would need to jump the Twins, the Rangers, the Angels, and the Red Sox. I don't really see them doing that too much. So I'm going to have them in soft sell. Brewers, stand pat. This is a team that is not ultra aggressive at trade deadlines. It's just not the way the Brewers run their organization. They're going to be a team, they'll add some guys. Maybe they trade some guys away that will surprise us. Would be like, oh, wow, Freddie Peralta was traded. Like, I could definitely see them doing that. I don't see them really adding, but this is still a Brewers team that is currently in the second wildcard spot, 49 and 39 so far this season. They're 4 games behind the Cubs for the division. I don't think they're going to go super aggressive. I think maybe you throw them at the end of the rental or two here, where they can look to maybe pick up a bat or two. I'm going to leave them there. I'm going to leave them there right with the Cardinals. I'll put them slightly above the Cardinals, actually. And I think they're maybe a team that'll have add a bat or two at the deadline. I think the Angels will buy. I think the Angels will buy. I'm going to put them in front of the Brewers here, just because Menation's crazy, and the Angels, unless they're 8 games out, are going to think they're in contentions in that American League. They're currently 1 game under, 43 and 44. They're 2.5 games behind the Seattle Mariners for that last wildcard spot. If they're anywhere remotely close to where they are right now at the trade deadline, they're going to go and they're going to buy. They're going to get a rental or two. They're not going to be super aggressive. They're not going to sell the farm because, they really don't have too much of a farm to sell. But yeah, for me, I have them as buyers. I have the Athletics as sellers. Obviously, they're not going to trade. They're not going to be the biggest sellers here. I think the Rockies are still going to be a bigger seller, and so will the Marlins. And when it comes to this, they're not going to trade Brooker. They're not going to trade Lawrence. They're not going to trade guys like that. But anybody else who has value, maybe your control, something along those lines. Free agents are gone for sure. I do think that we're going to see some players traded away at the deadline. Maybe Luis Severino even as well, something along those lines, as he does not like pitching in Oakland. So there's that. The Phillies are buyers. I'm going to say they're going to be more aggressive than the Yankees because they have to be. They're going to go out and we know Dombrowski is going to maybe go and try to find the best reliever on the market. Maybe they get that center fielder that they've needed for a while. Maybe they look to add a few pieces, and they're going to be aggressive because I think the window is closing with the Philadelphia Phillies in that core with Bryce Harper, with Schwarber, with Turner, with players along those lines. I think that window is starting to close, and Dombrowski knows it. And we see the Phillies get a little aggressive here at the deadline. So I'm going to have the Phillies as aggressive buyers. I think they will be one of the most aggressive buyers. The Pirates are sellers. I don't think we need to. I don't think we need to go crazy here for that one. I think that they will be sellers. The Padres, I want to put them towards the top of a rental or two. I could see them creeping up into that aggressive buyers category where they'll look to add a few players at the deadline if they're looking to compete, because currently the Padres are in that last wild card spot. They are up a game on the Giants, a game on the Cardinals, a game and a half on the Reds. So they're a team that I can definitely see making some moves to get better. And we know how that Padres front office works. If they feel like they can compete, they absolutely will. I think the Rangers will be in a soft sell. I'm not sold on this Rangers team. They're currently 3 games behind for the wild card, behind the Mariners. They would have to also jump the Angels and the Red Sox. So that is something they'll have to do, is they'll have to jump a few teams as well. I can see them soft selling some pitching, like Tyler Mahle, maybe some bullpen pieces. This is also a team that could very well, if they go on a nice run, they could be up here. They can be looking to add a little bit here, but I don't see the Rangers adding at the deadline. I think they are soft sellers. I feel like the Red Sox are an interesting stand pat team because they've already made their move. They already sold Rafael Devers. I think that is the biggest trade they'll make potentially. They are currently 2.5 games. They're tied with the Angels. They're 2.5 games behind the Mariners. They're a team that can win a few games and be right back in contention. And it would be interesting like that. But this is also a team, if they go on a little bit of a cold spell, Bregman's available, Chapman's available, maybe some bullpen pieces are available, and they can fall into that soft sell. I think they are a team that we definitely have to watch within the next little bit because they can kind of dictate the market for some players as well. Giants will buy. I think they're going to be one of those. I think that they'll be like the Blue Jays. They'll go and get a couple guys. I think Posey will look. Maybe they'll look for players with control and stuff like that for future players as well. I like the Giants to be buyers at this deadline. The Dodgers, we know, are going to be ultra aggressive. They are always ultra aggressive. They'll make some move for pitching. Currently, the Dodgers, they have the best record in the National League, 56-33, and they have the best record in baseball as well. The Dodgers will be aggressive like they usually are, and they're going to go out and they're going to get their back-end, high-end reliever, and they're going to go get a starter or two, and maybe they look to get a shortstop or something along those lines as well. The Diamondbacks are going to be soft sellers. I think they are the ultimate soft seller, though. Gallen could be gone. Torres could be gone. Kelly could be gone. Naylor could be gone. Like, if they wanted to, they could easily go from here to here if they wanted to go that direction. I think they're more of a soft sell. And all the guys I just listed there are all pending free agents. So it's nothing crazy to say, yeah, they're going to go ahead and try to trade them. So I think that the Diamondbacks are a soft sell team right now. They're currently 4.5 games behind the Padres for that last wild card spot. I don't see getting any better for them. I think that they do sell away a lot of their pending free agents. The Mets, they are buyers, and I'm going to put them at, actually, I'm not going to put them above the Dodgers just because I don't think they have the farm system to buy as much of the Dodgers will, but they're definitely going to go out and they're going to address their needs. I think they go get a couple starters, probably maybe a left-handed reliever, maybe a center fielder. I think that they're going to go and they're going to try to plug some holes during this trade deadline. And I absolutely think the Mets will be aggressive at the deadline, as you guys saw in the video that Tim and I did a little while ago, where we were reacting to Jeff Passan's article on who's going to buy, who's going to sell, or who's going to go where. We picked a decent amount of players to go to the Mets. I think they're going to be ultra aggressive. That's why. So there we go. White Sox, they're sellers. I mean, there's really not much to talk about here. They're currently the worst record in the American League by 7 games. They're 29-39. They're bad. Twins, tricky team. I want to have them in the stand pat category. They're currently 4 games behind, so maybe that's more of a soft sell. I'm going to have them in a soft sell. If I had the Rangers in the soft sell, I should have the Twins there as well. They're a team that's really streaky. They're a team that absolutely, at this point, though, at the deadline, they could be winning more games and they could be a little bit more aggressive. So you never know. But for me, I think that they will be more sellers than they will be buyers on things along those lines. So maybe Byron Buxton goes, things along those lines. But that would be more of sellers. But I think that they are more of a soft sell. The Cubs are all in. The Cubs are absolutely all in right now, especially with Tucker expiring at the end of this year. They got to go all in. They got to get some bullpen pieces. I think they go and get a pitcher as well. I think they will be aggressive, and I'll look for the Cubs to absolutely buy at this deadline. I don't think it's much of a discussion. They currently possess the second best record in the National League at 53-35, 2.5 games behind the Dodgers. I think they absolutely will be aggressive, especially in the pitching, because their offense is good. I think they're going to look more pitching, bullpen, and big-time bullpen, and probably a starter or two. So, yeah, I'll look for them to do that. The Nationals, soft sell. They're a team that is currently second to last in the National League, half game behind the Pittsburgh Pirates for the third worst record, 37-51. I think they will definitely sell away some of their pending free agents and things along those lines. They're not going to be buying at all. And the Reds, I'm going to have them as a rental or two. They're a game and a half behind for the wild card, which makes them a very interesting team at the deadline. So I think they are a team that could look to add a bat or two. I think their rotation's good. I think their bullpen's fine. I think offensively, that's where they're going to add more. So that's where I'm going to look for them to do. That's going to wrap up the tier list with the Reds in the rental or two category. So a quick little recap. I have the Tigers, Dodgers, Mets, Phillies, Cubs, Yankees, Blue Jays, and Giants buying. I have the Astros, the Padres, the Mariners, the Angels, the Brewers, the Cardinals, and the Reds as like a rental or two, soft buying. Standing pat, I have the Rays and the Red Sox. Rays, a little bit buy and sell type of thing there. Soft sell, I have the Diamondbacks, the Braves, the Orioles, the Guardians, the Royals, the Rangers, the Nationals, and the Twins. And sellers, I have the Rockies, the Marlins, the Athletics, the Pirates, and the White Sox. Let me know down in the comment section below, where did I mess up? Do you like my list? Do you think I put the teams in the wrong category? Let me know down in the comment section below. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. I want to thank you guys as always for watching. We'll catch you guys in the next one.